Microsoft's recent announcement of their ground station as a service offering, Azure Orbital, and what it means for the satellite industry. Azure Orbital is Microsoft's managed service that is designed to deal with the growing flood of data for Earth observation and Internet of Things applications. The managed service lets users communicate to, control their satellite, process data, and scale operations directly in Microsoft Azure. Microsoft's ground station as a service takes a very different approach compared to traditional ground systems. Azure Orbital leverages key technologies such as virtualization, software-defined networking, and cloud computing to enable customers to automate and scale operations across the globe. With us today to discuss Azure Orbital is Nora Zahn, a product manager for Microsoft. Nora is involved in Azure Space Satellites and Ground Stations and in bringing this new platform to market to provide satellite connectivity. Recently, at Microsoft Ignite, your annual conference for developers and IT professionals, you announced Azure Orbital. Nora, could you tell us a bit about this new offering?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Azure Orbital is a fully managed, cloud-based ground station service that enables satellite operators to communicate with their spacecraft, to downlink and uplink data, to process data in the cloud, to chain services with Azure services, and to generate products for their end customers. I know this is a little mouthful, but think of Azure Orbital as your pay-as-you-go service that gets you the connectivity with your satellites and the connectivity to the cloud. Any solution you need in between, we have them available on the platform for you to choose from. Essentially, Azure Orbital enables any satellite operator to focus on the mission and product data, and they don't have to worry about deploying or maintaining ground infrastructure anymore.
Wow, that's a really big announcement. So what was the driving force from Microsoft's perspective for developing this service?
I have two key words for this one, and I will elaborate on both of them: data and the cloud. Maybe three words, but anyway. So we all know the space industry is a giant industry today already that generates millions of terabytes of data every year. The recent technical developments in the industry have made the barrier to market entry way lower compared to even just a few years ago. So we have seen a lot more satellites being launched to space in the recent years. At the same time, the commercial use cases for satellite data have already and will continue to significantly evolve with the advancement in data processing, data analytics, IoT, etc. All of those lead to one thing: significantly more data from space. At the same time, as Congressman Doug Lamborn pointed out in one of your most recent podcasts, and yes, I do listen to your podcast, ground station infrastructure developments are already lagging behind satellite development. We simply don't have enough ground antennas to absorb all of the data from space, and we haven't seen any technical breakthrough in the ground station architecture for a while. So we at Microsoft see this as a great opportunity to meet the growing demand and to revolutionize the ground station operations. With a huge amount of data coming from space, cloud is essential to provide the necessary compute power and resources needed to process and store those data. Azure is already a major leading player in the cloud industry and owns one of the longest terrestrial fiber networks. So it makes perfect sense for Azure to leverage its cloud infrastructure to extend connectivity from Earth to space. We are confident with Azure Orbital, we can significantly reduce cost and increase efficiency and scalability for satellite operators. We can also enable them to directly and immediately ingest and process satellites in the cloud. Our ambition is for Azure Orbital to become the ultimate one-stop shop for all satellite use cases and help shape the new possibilities of space connectivity.
You know, Nora, if you look at the market, I think it's like a $300 billion industry. The satellite industry is huge. And all kinds of priorities. You can juggle all kinds of different things within there, many different key markets. And so what are the key markets that you'll be focused on, and why did you choose those?
Yeah, so based on our own research and the feedbacks and interest gathered from customers during our initial proof of concept work, we have identified a few segments as our key markets. The first segment includes typical industry verticals like weather forecasting, remote mining, energy farms, oil rigs, and maritime. The second segment includes companies in Earth observation, navigation, and the geospatial fields. We also target satellite communication providers like SES and IoT companies integrating with satellite communications.
You know, if you look at the data processing community and information technology, you think about this cloud. And could you, just for our listeners, maybe discuss the role of technology